you know what? My mom, I didn't have baths when I was a kid. I know it sounds nasty. I had showers.
Oh,
Showers, my mom
you
didn't
bathed
think
in one way
yeah,
or another.
my mama didn't think that sitting in a tub of water was useful. Like, why would you do that? I, on the other hand, think it's a very spa thing to do as a woman. So that's it. So that was my segue. Speaking of that. I can't promise you that this taping will be.
Listen, our audience gets what they want from us. They get hilarity. They get off the cuff realness. Hi, everybody.
Yes.
Welcome to Classic Screenshots.
Oh, pretty. Let me turn up the volume. Oh, I'm sorry.
Happy Monday.
Oh, yes, it's Monday. Yes, happy Mondays and greetings. I'm QueenB Divine, and this is my co-host, Henry C. And I'm really snuggly right now.
I am too. You know what I'm gonna do?
What?
I'm gonna put my own little shawl on right here.
I have my little green blanket. It's my fluffy.
Look at my t-shirt. Isn't this cute?
Yes, I love that. I think I just watched a movie, and I can't remember what movie it was. It had that same T-shirt on it. That's pretty neat.
Really?
Or maybe, it's mean coexist. That's what I said.
Right. This is no exist.
Right. There we go.
So it's the Loch Ness Monster, and it's ghostesses, and I think that's a zombie, and dragons, and mermaids, and unicorn, and UFOs. No exist. It's the things that people think don't exist, but you and I know.
They do.
We're all waiting for the mothership. Oh,
it's a nice blanket.
Thank you. It was a gift from my mother. It feels like a hug.
Thank you, Mama.
It feels like a hug every time I wrap myself in
it. Speaking about mamas, I'm getting right into it because...
we're getting right into it.
Because I as much as I do love hosting the show, I'm thinking of just a very warm bath right now. So I'm just trying to kind of keep my mind here. Oh, it's a woman. You know what? My mom, I didn't have baths when I was a kid. I know it sounds nasty. I had showers. Showers. My mom didn't think my mama didn't think that sitting in a tub of water was useful. Like, why would you do that? I, on the other hand, think it's a very spa thing to do as a woman. So that's it. So that was my segue. Speaking of baths, my mama...
Another random segue by QueenB.
I was not in the movie that we're talking about today is called Silver Cord, if I'm correct.
Silver Cord, 1933.
And it's all about your mama, not your specific mama, but mama in general. And while I was watching this movie, Silver Cord, I swear, I don't know what to say. I have played that part 1,000 times over. I don't know what it is with mamas. I love mamas. I'm not going to give you any funk or crap, but mamas, wow, this movie really covered a huge wedge of mama.
A huge mama wedge. It gave you a wedgie. It gave you a mama wedgie.
Yes.
And you know what's amazing about this movie is that it was 1933, which means it was pre-code, meaning that they could address some heavy-hitting social issues without being shut down, right? They could talk about sex. They could talk about sexuality. They could have a mother practically French kissing her sons.
It wasn't practically. She was
kissing her bosom.
Yeah, she was kissing her son, which that was as soon as he...
Both of them.
Both of them.
And they had a room.
This movie is, you're not going to get any love from me when it comes to, the silver cord that attaches people to their mother. I have not experienced the mother love thing. It's not that I, I am very, I've learned to be very forgiving with those who cannot show the love into the world. My mother was like that. She didn't she didn't have a motherly bone in her body. And there are a lot of people who say that not every woman is born to be a mother.
That's right.
I can attest to that.
I can attest to that too. I'm not talking about my own mother,
Right.
because my mom was in. Hi, mom. I know she's probably watching this. Her situation was a little bit different because she was a child of the 50s. She was born in the mid 40s, and so she grew up in the 50s. And the options for young women to get out of the house and have careers was very, very limited. And it wasn't impossible, but it was very limited. And for many young women of her age, she was 18 when she married my dad. And she got out of a tough situation at home by getting married. And it was often out of the frying pan into the fire. And when the blush is off the rose and you don't have any life skills to fall back on because you did not grow up in a healthy household to learn from, right? It always comes back to life skills with me.
Oh
But I
yeah,
really I
life
think that's
skills.
what it's about.
Yeah, it's life skills. My mom had plenty of life skills to share. She taught me everything I learned from my mom. I learned from the art of observation. And if you missed it, you missed it. My mom she was a teacher. She did something, and if you weren't watching, you missed it. I remember she used to say in her Jamaican tongue, "You big eye them, make sure y'all watch me. Make sure y'all watch me enough because I'm not teach you again. Make sure."
Wow.
She was so the observation skill was probably the very first skill that I learned, was to look, and just and notice the small details that somebody wasn't saying, um
Yeah.
but notice what they were doing. It's not everything is not about, for her, instructions weren't about just what came out of your mouth. It was about those things that your eyes have to be very focused on. And in this movie, the mother had a really good way of manipulating everybody around her, and if you weren't really savvy, you would miss it. She
Yes.
she was
One might even say she was gaslighting.
gaslighting. Yes, she was. She had and it's not unusual to hear that mothers want the best for their sons, and they should want the best for their sons. But in this movie, it was a very complicated union because you know not to jump forward, but I think a mother who clings to her son in this particular movie, and the rest, those, is because they miss something in their own life, and
Right.
they're trying to
She tells that story toward the end. It sort of builds up
right,
to that.
right.
To set the scene, at the very beginning, you see a young woman played by Irene Dunne brilliantly. She's a young biologist. She's a scientist, and she's looking at, what was it, chicken embryos in a microscope.
Oh yes, yeah. I was so
Right?
focused on the mom, I forgot about the rest of the movie.
Yeah, well, and so they had just gotten married. She had just gotten married to this young guy who wants to be an architect.
Well,
And they got married in Germany, right, where she was studying. And he had been, I guess, studying. And he had gotten a letter offering him a job at a big. Am I being too stoic? He got he got a job offer at an architectural firm in New York City, and she wanted to go and do some
nothing personal, nothing to do with
lab
you.
in New York. So she's like, okay, cool, let's go to New York. This is awesome. He said, yeah, but let's go meet my mom first, right? Because she had
Right,
never met the mom, and the mom didn't come across to Germany for the wedding, right? So this was to be the big first meeting, and he had built his mom up to be this Wonder Woman, right?
right.
Put her way up on a pedestal. And so the wife, Irene Dunne, was really, Joel McCrea played the husband, and Laura Hope Cruz, who played the mother.
Oh,
She originated the role on Broadway. This was a play before it was a film.
she was
And
fantastic.
she originated the role. Do you know who else she played? You will have seen her before. You saw Gone with the Wind, right?
I sure did.
Do you remember Aunt Pitty Pat with all the little Kurt ringlets? And
Oh
she's like, "My
yes,
smelling salts, my smelling salts," right? Which is
yes.
very interesting because smelling salts come up in this movie too. Remember?
Yeah, I never seen it used in this movie the way in the world how it was used for this one. This woman is hysterical because at this present time she's beginning to understand that her mother-in-law or potential mother-in-law has just turned her potential husband away from her, and she's hysterical. And then
Right,
one of the characters say, grab me the smelling salts," and I'm
right.
thinking to myself, if I can't, I have been in hysterics before where things don't go the way I want them to, and
Mhm.
I couldn't, I'm trying to think if I smelling salts, if I would be more pissed
Well,
off.
yeah, and the side story is that Joel McCrea's character has a younger brother who
Right.
is obviously a homosexual, but he's engaged to this pretty young thing,
Okay, let's stop. Why would
Frances
you say
D.
obvious? Why would you say obvious?
It's so obvious. Honey, it takes one to know one. So so he's like, he's trying to, because they're very, very wealthy family
Right,
and they have status in the community. And so they don't want any kind of scandal. They're always avoiding scandals. And he's tried to date other women, but his mother didn't approve of them. And so
right,
she had to pay them off to get out of Dodge and to leave him behind, right? So the mother's over here like a puppeteer, manipulating the whole situation. Finally, he meets this young woman, beautiful young actress named Frances D.
right,
And interesting side note is that the guy who played Irene Dunne's husband, the older brother,
right.
Joel Grey, and Frances D met on the set of The Silver Cord, and they got married in real life.
Interesting.
And they were together for like 50 years. I mean, it was one of the
Wow,
great
that's
loves of Hollywood. Isn't that
and this
amazing?
silver cord that
So
you don't work.
anyway, so the mother is
Wait, what do you mean anyway?
no, I'm just saying that's like a little side dish. Okay. So back to the main course. So the mother she convinces her younger son to break off with Frances D because she's like, I don't think you really love her.
Right.
And I think she loves you, right? So she's manipulating the whole, and he's confused. He's a young, confused homosexual. He has no idea what he's doing,
And
why he,
just for a movie alert spoiler, he doesn't actually say he's gay in the movie.
no, he doesn't, but he says
I just
what?
want to make sure that I didn't miss that because I
Well,
don't
he kind of
remember.
does. He says, well, I don't think I'm the marrying
Well, that
kind.
doesn't mean that you.
Yes,
That
it
doesn't
does.
mean
It's totally
no. It doesn't mean
code.
that you're pushing open the closet. No,
It's
it just
totally code for I am home. And then his older brother says, yeah, painting little flower buds on bathtubs is right up your alley. I mean, come on. It is so like blatant. It's saying it without saying it. But it was
right.
all about, the social, you know,
Okay, sure.
scandal-
Okay.
scandals and all that. So he doesn't really want to break up with her. He's not sure. He's confused. She finally confronts him, Frances D, and says, You want to break up with me, but I want you to break up with me because you want to, not because your bitch
Mama.
is manipulating the situation, because she sees her for what she is. And
Yes.
so he flakes out, and she has a total and complete brilliant Oscar winning, should have been, meltdown, right? Where she's like laughing and crying and laughing and crying. You hear about these things happening, but this is like a prime example.
Yeah,
And
she
so
melts down. She melts down.
so Irene Dunne comes in. She said, "Get me the motherfucking smelling salts,"
And,
right?
well, again, for the listening audience, she doesn't actually say motherfucking smelling salts.
Well, I mean, I'm just being colorful because I'm tired.
Oh my. Just because I don't want anybody running to the movie going, oh my God, she says this delicious
Well,
line.
let's decode so anything was possible. I mean, it was like the fairy godmother did not say, "Where's my fucking motherfucking wand?"
She could have though, but she could have.
She could have. That was her subtext,
Yeah,
right?
she could.
So Irene Dunne says, "Get me the smelling salt." And do you know what smelling salts are?
No, they're salts that make you wake up.
They're ammonia crystals.
Nice.
So it's like a bottle full of cat piss shoved under your nose. That will wake some shit up, okay? That will click you out of your shit.
Yes, it would. You
Out of
know,
your
as you know, as we're talking about the smelling salts and how hysterical she was. And it's funny because in this movie, there is one woman who's just holding her own. She's a scientist. She wants it all. And this
right.
other woman who is hysterical at the drop of a hat because her boyfriend is saying no. But when we go in deeper to the movie and we look at the main character who's a scientist, she's got her shit, and the gentleman basically tells her, I don't know if I'm gonna marry. She holds up tall and she's like, that's okay. I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm good. She doesn't go in hysterics. She's quite happy. She's like, okay, if you're sure that you want your mama instead of me, I just want to make sure I hear it, but not before I tell you what a see you next Tuesday your mama is.
I love that. Figure it out, audience. See, letter C. See you. Like
And that's
TGIF.
the best scene for me. I love that scene because she's like, I'm not going to just take the shit. I'm going to tell you why.
But she tried. She did. Give her props because when they first arrived and the mother separated them, wouldn't even let them sleep in the same room. They're like on opposite ends of the house. And her son's room was at like adjoining hers.
Adjacent to her, yeah. Adjacent to her.
But like not just next door. Like there was a door between the two bedrooms. Like, she could sneak in and cuddle in with her boy.
You see, and that's and I, you know, I've experienced that where a mother becomes very attached to
romantic.
Yeah, you know what, and you know, in my own personal experience, I remember having a conversation with my own mother-in-law, and I remember she said something that, you know, you will never have my son. And I said, well, she goes, over my dead body you'll have my son. And I said, well, then so be it. We've been married we've been together for 22 years, put it this way.
Right.
But I respected her because there was a small part of me that was actually very jealous of the fact that she loved her son so much, and I didn't come from that energy.
Right.
You know, I never heard my mom go, over my dead body will you have my daughter, and in a kind of child way. I'd be like, oh, that's so sweet. But I mean, the reality of it, that's what I heard. But there were two sides to it. I'm like, wow, I am so happy that she is willing to just hang on to her son. But on the other side, I'm thinking you gotta let go. And it's hard. You know, as I said, I love her because she gave me the man that has made me extremely happy. So there's no love, there's no hate there.
There's that whole leave and cleave thing.
Yeah, there's none of that. But it is kind of it's hard to it was hard to watch in the movie because I can't, you know, you kind of felt her. You're like, because after the woman explains in the movie why she was like that, you kind of go, okay. But you still, like I said in the movie while we were watching, because we watched the movie together, I said, but you still can't fuck your son, so why are we getting all technical about it? You know what I mean? Like, she really had that. When I say that, and I say that with a seriousness, because it was almost her mind was so sick to me, because that's where I'm seeing it from, that she wasn't even willing to make her son let go of her son so some other woman can make him happy. She said, mother's love is complete love. And she said, it's romantic love.
Moment.
Yeah, it's romantic love. And I was like, no.
Well, and to put it into context, she was a young widow with 2 little children, right? And so
Yes.
rather than getting remarried and giving these boys another father figure, she cultivated this codependency on them, where she projected all of the romance in her that she should have showered on a husband or a partner onto her sons. And it was really, I mean, I don't think she fucked them. I really don't think she molested them or
No,
anything.
but it was
But there was a lot of very over,
borderline for
like,
me.
long kisses on the lips that were uncomfortably long. Or when she was holding
Yes.
them to her bosom, like that one, the youngest son, I mean, nestling his face right between her bosoms
Right.
for a long time, and you could tell that he was mentally ill. I mean, she
Yes.
had caused this mental illness in her sons because of her own mental illness. And thank goodness, spoiler alert, at the end, you don't know if the older son's going to go away with his wife and Frances D, right? The girlfriend who is leaving. But in the end, he does. And he realizes that she's never going to change.
Thank you. You know, and I love how he does. He just like, I got to go. He packs his bag and he goes with the wife, and the younger son sits out the window and went, should I have left? Yeah.
Describing to his mother, who's sitting there not looking,
Right.
right? And that happened earlier too. You remember when Irene Dunne and Joel McCrea went outside to have some alone time together
Oh,
because
yes.
they had just announced that they were going to have a baby,
Yeah.
right? And the mother's like,
Yeah.
she wasn't happy for them. She couldn't be warm about it or
Just
congratulatory.
just bitter in
And
every
so
way.
they went off in the garden to just cuddle and coo, and have a moment. And she has the younger one go and spy on them and describe what they're doing, right?
Yes.
Kissing and stuff. And she's like, "Oh, call them it,"
Don't, or even when the youngest son's girlfriend goes out on the ice and falls into the water, and she
Yeah,
does
because he's trying to
absolutely
escape on foot in the middle of the night, in the middle of winter. It's totally pitch black, and she cannot see the holes cut in the
no.
lake.
She
And so
runs.
she plop right in the water.
And the mother
Right.
didn't seem to care. She was like, oh, she didn't, and
She's like,
it's,
"Come back! You're not wearing your coat. You're not wearing your rubbers. You'll
I
catch your
didn't
death
have
of
any,
cold."
I actually had a very taste in my mouth because of this movie, because it wasn't just a movie. It was really living the life. I've been through that experience with my own mother and other mothers. I remember one guy I dated long before, like when I got out of college, and we were dating for about 7 years. And I remember I don't know, we thought, we didn't think we were going to date that long, first year of college. And his mother realized, oh my God, because he was white. And the mother said, I don't want any black lineage in my blood. I didn't think you guys would be married for that or be together that long. And I remember thinking, and the son never did anything. He just allowed it to happen. And it was my first taste of how powerful the mind could be, because not only is the mind capable of creating this world to allowing someone to believe that they can control it, but you see the mind come out and then control another, and you're just
And
like,
pitting people against each
yeah,
other,
you're just like,
right? There
what?
was that whole conversation about taking sides. Don't take any sides, right?
No.
Her husband saying to her, and she's like, "How can I not take
Right.
Hester's side?" Is the younger girlfriend.
Right.
How can I not take her side? Look at the situation that she's in. And then when she's talking about, remember she's calling the taxi to get
Yes.
her the fuck out of there.
Yes.
And what does the mother do? She comes up and she yanks the cord out of the
Out of
wall.
the
And
wall.
she's like, "No one has ever made me do an undignified thing before. I shan't forget it."
And that was gorgeous, because I have seen many mothers who, instead of taking
Right?
responsibility for their actions, will blame others for their actions. And
That's
you know what?
right.
This is a great, this is not actual dating advice, but since we're here, this movie is great. Pre-dating advice. Watch this movie before you go on the date, because you just never know where these symptoms will show up. And it's advantageous to know what you're getting into. Meet somebody's mother and see how they act around their mother. It's very interesting, because I have to say that at one point in my life, I would have been that younger son, like right up my mom's ass. If she said jump, I would have jumped.
Right.
Because I wanted that woman to love me more than anything in the world. I don't
Well,
know
did you
why.
experience sibling rivalry like these boys did too?
Oh
Because
yeah.
there's major jealousy and
Oh,
rivalry.
it's at this point in my life, I'm estranged from my family, and I'm very happy for it. There is
Yeah, me
absolutely no regret, no regret. Because watching this movie made me happy.
happiness is the silver cord.
Happiness is knowing this will
No, but I hear what you're saying, because it's validating when you
yes.
have put space between you
Yeah.
and bless them, even though they are your
God
blood.
bless them. I love
They
this.
are.
Let me put this disclaimer out there.
Yes, disclaimer.
Let me put the disclaimer out there. I, QueenB Divine, wholeheartedly love my family, but I realize that they're better loved afar.
And you realize.
And
we have this whole thing going about but and because
let's correct
but
that.
invalidates the good thing you just said.
Yeah.
So the and
I realize that family, for me, just me, they are a tool that I came through, not for. I came through my mother to come on this planet to do things. I didn't come for her. So that connection, the silver cord, is not connected in that respect. I've untied it, actually.
yeah. Snap. Exactly. Well, we have to do that, and I think that's part of that leaving and cleaving. That sometimes the parents, because sometimes it's fathers too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Sorry.
They don't have the capacity to cut the silver cord and enjoy the process of their children leaving the nest.
Yes.
Right? There's
That's
one of my
true.
favorite poets of all time. He was a fabulous poet, Syrian, I think, maybe Iranian, I don't know, Middle Eastern. His name was Khalil Gibran, and he wrote The Prophet. Have you ever read The Prophet?
I don't think so.
Oh, guess what you're getting for Christmas? Anyway.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Okay.
He wrote in The Prophet, one of the passages is on children. And he wrote, I'll see if I can remember it. Your children are not your children.
Right.
They are the sons and the daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, they belong not to you.
There we go.
Give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You can house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You can strive to be like them, but make them not like you. Strive to be like them, but make them not like you. You are the bows as arrows that your children are sent forth into. Isn't that just, I mean, I bastardized it a little bit.
That's delicious. Take a bow. Take a bow.
That's all my hair fell out because I store all this stuff in my head. But
That's very well said, because it's very
and I
true.
think that's apropos to this film,
Right.
because there are parents who don't understand that they are the bows from which their children, as arrows, are shot out into the world. They keep their children
Well,
close
yeah,
to.
yeah, and it's part of a bigger symptom too. Like, I mean, if you don't live your life to the fullest, if you don't take all the opportunities that are in front of you, that you've been given, and then you choose to bring children in the world, you are going to forever be jealous of them. You're going to be forever like, why didn't I get the opportunity? And when we don't let go of opportunities missed, or we don't live in the now, these are the things that can happen. You
Living
know.
vicariously through your children
Yeah,
is
yeah,
not
exactly. My
healthy,
mom was
parents. It is not healthy.
yeah, my mom was the same way. I felt, I could feel the jealousy from her, and I, whether it was justified or not, I just, and I realized that I understood why, because as a growing up as a Canadian child, born
Yeah.
and raised in Canada, my roots are Jamaican, but there were a lot of things that she could not do, and that I haphazardly just throw caution to the wind and I do, and that's part of maturing, and allowing the world just to be. And I felt her, and the more I felt her, the further I drew away from her, because I knew it was just affecting my life. I could feel it, I could feel it, I could feel it, I
Yeah.
could feel it. So I mean, earlier on in this talk I said I didn't have compassion for the mother in the movie. I think I was more, I mean, I felt compassion, but it turned into anger really quickly, because I'm like, let go, let them
She
live.
had that moment where she
You know?
could have,
Yes.
right? Irene Dunne, her daughter-in-law, gave her every
Yeah.
opportunity to
Right.
say, and she did say at one time, "I'm only human, and I know I made mistakes,
Yeah.
but my mistakes couldn't have been so bad," right? Because
And my
and
mistakes
she
can.
said, "But." She
I
said,
know,
"But."
I said and.
But,
Yeah.
what she did was she bought up all this land. She decided that her son was gonna be an architect, right? And she bought all this land so that he would, right next door, so
Mhm.
that he would make his fortune right there, and that she would be right there doing it with him, and he had no say, and so he was just sort of weak as a man, I think. He never got
And
the
that's
opportunity
a
to go
very
out,
interesting
and
thing.
his wife wanted him to be a man, wanted him to go out into the world and make his own fortune
That
without his mother's apron strings.
that's very interesting that you say that. How a decision that'll help make you a man. Like, we talk about fathers really helping their sons become men, but also women, mothers helping their sons become men by allowing them to make those decisions when it comes to women, their future, it's easy to look at your son and go, that's my baby, oh my god, my baby, oh my gorgeous baby, I want the best for him, and no woman could be as good as me, and no woman should be like you. You
Well,
know,
and the boys, her sons
right,
validated that all the way through the movie,
right.
like that their mother, they hold all the women they've ever dated to the standard of their mother, which they
See,
could never
here,
meet. She's built herself up so high on a pedestal.
yeah, but here's that thing too. When I was listening to that, because I remember that in the movie where they said there's no woman, we can't. They insinuated that, or said it, as you said.
She said that,
But
yeah.
it really makes you question the idea of love. So there's this intimacy that you have with a woman, but then when you fully become intimate with a woman, you now take the next level to be physically intimate with her. And this mother, I don't know how she doesn't notice that, because she had an intimacy with her husband which produced these children, and
But
yet
she
she was,
wasn't happy in
well,
that
yes, that's
union,
all fine,
and then
yes,
he died, and she put
right,
all of that intimacy into her son. She
yes,
channeled it in the wrong way
right.
that fucked them up
That's
in a big
completely
way.
yes. And I thought to myself, like, how does she not even see that? And I get a mind that is so narcissistic for
Yeah.
there cannot see it. I get that. But like I said, when she said, that was a line that struck me as so powerful, when she said, um, a romantic love is not, people say a mother's love is not complete, but it is. I romantically love my children. And I thought, whoa, that's deep.
And the
Because,
fact that she was aware of it.
yeah,
It wasn't
that's
in
even
her
deeper.
subconscious. She could actually verbalize that. It's like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yep.
Yeah, I love showing people this film because we think of the 1930s as being, 42nd Street and
Right.
everybody, Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, and nobody had any drama. Well, you know what? These kinds of family dramas that we're seeing on Desperate Frickin' Housewives of
Right.
Ohio, these things were happening back in the
Well,
1930s,
yeah, I would never
before, all throughout history.
Well, yes, I have to say, and not to sound like, you know, when my mom or my siblings or being around elders spoke, they talked about things like this. They just were never spoken in public. Like this movie was like watching my own family drama, but with a bunch of white people.
Mm. Well,
That's all. You know
it's
what I mean? Like,
universal. You're absolutely right. These
you know
things are
what I mean?
happening all over the world in every
Yeah.
culture. There are these dramas. There are overbearing mothers.
Yes.
People in the theater. We hear about stage mothers. There was a
Yeah.
whole musical written about it called
Helicopter mothers.
Gypsy. Have you ever seen Gypsy? I mean, it's all about this mother, overbearing mother, who's manipulating her daughters to do what she wanted to do but didn't get to do
Right.
in her life, right? This mother is resentful of Irene Dunne's character because she doesn't understand. Remember where she says, in my day, when I was a girl, it was shocking for a woman to even be a teacher or, a librarian. But now, I mean, women are going off and being scientists and doctors, and it was shocking to her. And then she resented her daughter-in-law's intellect, her power, right? And the freedom to develop that she was giving her husband. She was
Right.
going there. She said, I don't care about money. We'll struggle together.
Right.
It's not about status. It's not about social status as
Right.
it was in their world, right? So she resented the hell out of this woman, and she could not accept her son as being his own person. And I know gay couples who go through the same thing. I mean,
Well,
it's
everybody goes it. If you have a
not a
mama,
man-woman thing.
yeah, if you have a mama who thinks the sun rises and sets in your ass, this is something that you need to really look.
What a visual. Speaking of suns rising and setting in the sphincter of your anal cavity.
Sorry. Honestly, I told you.
Right? Because you're never going to get a conversation like this online anywhere.
No, I told you that, I started off, like I said, my head is like, okay, I'm kind of tired today, but I'm never too tired to talk about a good mother movie, right?
A motherfucking movie.
And this is a good, I even love the name of it, The Silver Cord, what do you take? What do you take for the name? Because I think of silver, which is not as good as gold, and then I think cord connection. I would have thought the name of the movie would be called The Invisible Cord, maybe. But why do you think they use it, Henry C., my fabulous co-host? Why do you think they called it The Silver Cord?
Well, I think it is to infer.
Infer. There's a
Infer.
Monday word. Wow.
It's your Monday word. Oh, you know what? We haven't even talked about the cup of the week.
Oh, my cup of I don't even have my cup of the week this day. This is how
I have a cup of the week, and our cup of the week this week is worst mother
ever. You know what? If you got a mother,
to buy this mug for anybody, but I found it on the internet. And I'm like, okay.
Wait, if you have a good mother story, you've got a good mother story. Don't be afraid to share, because you know what, we could have a whole talk about just mother movies. We could do a week of mother movies. We could do whatever we need to. But
You do
yeah,
a month
so
of mother
please
movie.
don't be afraid to leave in the description box below. Think about our talk, what you feel about. Do you have a mother who thinks the sun sets and rises in your ass? Will she allow you to date the people you choose to do? And when do we as adults say enough?
Enough.
You know, like what at what point do you think, I mean, nope, to me, see, again, I've had such a different upbringing that I can't even, I think the moment you get squeezed out of her loins, that responsibility is done. Like it starts a whole new contract. It's a whole new contract. First 9 months, you're like, okay, this is what I'm doing. But once you come out, it's a whole new contract. Okay, now I'm going to make sure you get the best love and attention so you can become your own person. You know, if you want to do it in the first 9 months and coddle the shit out of your child, fine. But I think once it comes out, and this is neck talking right here. If you don't know neck language, you're welcome to watch me all through this thing.
Am I appropriating this culture? Listen, you asked me a question. I'm going to answer it. Because it has to do with exactly what you're talking about. Right. When you are squeezed out.
Right.
Right.
Squeezed out, yes.
There comes a moment before you are set free.
Right.
Right. Because you are connected to your mother. You are a part of her organs. You are part of her body.
Okay, we're there.
Right. And then what happens? Snip.
Yep. Some people don't cut it, I guess. Technically. You know what I mean? They cut it, but I mean symbolically they don't cut it.
But that's what the silver cord is about. It's the uncut umbilical cord.
Why silver? Why not something else?
Well, have you ever seen an umbilical cord? It's kind of silvery.
Is it? Oh, okay, then I'll give it to
you. It's not metallic, but it's kind of. But it's sort of the silver cord that connects you.
Okay.
Right. It's like they say that when you have an out of body experience.
Yes, I was gonna say that's the only silver cord that I know is through.
Right, you're attached to your physical body by this silver cord. Right, that's endless. So it's kind of like that. It's like you carry the spirit of your mother with you.
Yeah, I do.
You're still attached. Right? But there comes a time when you have to snip that cord and be your own person.
Yeah, you know what? Yes, because you know, like I said, if you listen to the show, I do have a podcast, again, self-promotion, a podcast called bluntReflections.com. You can find it. But the podcast is called The Cure is Conversation. Right. And when I host that show, I can sometimes hear my mother's voice. Even looking at my face right now, I can actually see my mother's face. Like before, I could
say her name 3 times because she's going to come out of my computer screen and scare the shit out of me. I don't want that. You start speaking in your Jamaican patois.
Before I never really looked and think, do I look like this woman? But I do, especially when I get angry. It's really sad, but I look a lot like her when I don't get so much angry now. But there's that silver cord with that woman. It's connected to me and I can see it. Like, you know, a lot of people say I look like my dad, and I do. But I can just, my face, some days I'll go in the mirror, do what I have to do, brush my teeth, and I'll have to take a second glance and go, oh my God, I look like, did that scare you? You look scary.
It's a little scary. But when I don't have facial hair, I look more like my mom. But with facial hair, I look more like my dad because my mom doesn't have facial hair. And some moms do. But one time when I was in graduate school, we were doing this exercise where we had to say the words "I love you," and we had to say it lovingly, we had to say it tenderly, we had to say it nervously, we had to say it angrily, we had to say it ragefully and build up to that. And when I said it ragefully, I heard my father's voice come out of my mouth when he was raging, and I was a pile of jelly in the corner for the next 2 hours because it shook me. That was a huge turning point for me. I totally forgot about this. It's not just the silver cord with mothers. It's a
Well, yeah.
silver cord with parents,
Yeah, parents.
right? And so I think we all, they say we carry 50-50 DNA from our mother and our father, half and half.
Sure thing. 50-50.
I've got like 54% of my mother's DNA, which is so weird.
I think I have, if we're to break it down, I'd
Break
say
it down,
like
break it down.
break it down, baby. I say I have like okay, when it comes to spirit, I have 70% of my mom's spirit, 30% of my dad. When it comes to looks, I have 70% of my dad looks and 30% of my mom's looks. So it kind of, that's how it breaks.
Balances out.
Yeah, that's how it balances out. Because
I
I
have
was very
100% of
blessed
my
to
own spirit.
what?
I have 100% of my own spirit.
Oh yeah, I get it. Technicalities. Of course I have my own, but I feel my mother's energy. 70%. Yeah, I just feel so much.
Yeah.
When I was very blessed to go travel to the States and see my siblings, they gave me a picture. Oh my God, I should get the picture of my dad. Damn it. Oh well.
Yes.
I can't, I don't remember. I don't know if it's here. I don't know how to do it. Anyways, so the point being, I look at my dad and I look exactly like him. I was like, whoa. And it's just neat to see, and that's the only picture I have myself. I would love to get some childhood pictures of myself just to see how much I've changed
Yeah.
and all that stuff. But
My brother is a dead ringer for my father. My brother looks just like my dad.
living ringer.
Well, living
Not
ringer.
dead ringer. Don't give me that look.
If you look at my face when I was a child, I was a dead ringer for my mother.
Oh my
I looked
goodness.
like my mom. I had my mom's face, and
Right.
my brother had my father. And so it's really interesting. It's really interesting.
Did your dad have facial hair? I mean, do you have facial hair like your dad? Like, did he have a beard?
Yeah, I mean, my dad had a beard. My dad
Was
had a
he
beard.
bald? Was he have short hair, long hair?
Yeah. Well, my dad had really interesting kinky hair.
Oh, kinky.
Ooh. Yeah. My dad had really kinky hair, but he grew it really long on one side and brushed it across. He had a comb over.
Interesting.
Kind of a bushy comb over. I'll show you a picture sometime. And it was funny when he got caught in a crosswind, it would fan out like a showgirl on the top of his head. Anyway,
my dad.
I don't do the comb over.
My dad was a horseshoe bald guy, and he had lots of hair on the side, but hardly. My mom had a lot. She had a lot of hair. She was, and I say this with love.
Yes.
Listening audience, I do say this. She was vain in the sense that when she got dressed, she loved to host a meal. She loved to dress up. She was
kind of like the mother in Silver Cord.
But that was she loved that, paying attention. Like, she cooked a meal, you could not, if you didn't say, oh, this is delicious, she'd get offended. You have to say, oh, it was great, whatever. Or this is just what she loved doing. She was that type of woman. And I can say that to get myself released from that cord, I believe the universe did me a favor when I left my childhood home at 11.
Yeah.
Because it would have been murderous, and I'm not being exaggeratory, very murderous if I had done it later. I don't think I would have lived. That's the truth.
Yeah, I know that leaving home at 13 for me was life-saving.
It was.
I went to another level too, because I changed my name. I changed my last name. I had to, part of it was professional, right? Because my agents and people in the industry were saying, your last name doesn't really stick to your ribs, it was an odd name, not as odd as like Schwarzenegger, but kind of a vanilla, bland kind of a name to me and to other people in my industry who were reflecting back to me. But there was also it was cutting the silver cord from my family and becoming my own person, because I felt that my family was not a healthy one. And to cut the dinghy loose, to release the baggage and allow them their dysfunction, to figure out for themselves. And again, I love my family like you. I bless them to their journey. You know, we've had a lot of ups and downs in my family, but we have a respect. And I think that I earned their respect by becoming my own person.
Wow,
When I was young, I was quite young, and it served me really, really well. It has served me really, really well. And there's no rule that says that you have to love your parents. I think we should honor our parents for giving us life,
sure.
but I don't think there's any law that says that you have to respect them automatically. I think
It's the
respect.
same. It's the same tone that I was saying that 9 months that you carry your child, parents, husband, fathers. But I think once that child comes out, you have to really earn your child's love or create that. They don't just give you your love just because. Like
And
I'm not from
respect.
that. Yeah, I'm not
And
from that. So,
respect.
well, you gave birth to me, so I love you. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, but that's not where I'm feeling right now. And
Right.
my mom me and her were very unique individuals. I respected her journey just like my father. I did, I think I knew them almost equally. And to put it this way, when and I believe, again, I believe my mom has passed. I don't really know, but I believe 100%, about 99% she's passed. Um, we just never got along, and that's okay. I respected her journey. I respected the fact that she did her thing. And when she died, I don't really know her birthday. I never knew her parents. I don't know anything about this woman. I just noticed she was from Jamaica,
Wow.
and I'm in the process now of learning, just like my dad. I didn't know a lot about him.
Yeah.
But that silver cord, which is funny, in my mind is still it's still attached to everybody, but in my mind that the silver cord is more attached to my dad than my mom. But in the spirit world, we want to get all in woo. She's really making an effort to connect. Like and I won't stop her.
Do you think she made an effort to connect with this movie?
I think she did because, like I said, the cure is conversation. And when you talk things out, you hear your voice, you hear what's on your heart. Other people can hear what on your heart. And I hope that the audience right now can hear that. You like you said, Henry, so you don't have to love your parents. You do have to respect them, understand their journey, understand that they're loving you from the best place that they know how, from where they're at. And the best that we can do as children is to make sure that we grow up as strong individuals and create our own traditions, foundations that work for us, that elevate love opposed to anything else.
I think that well said, and I think that as we grow and mature and start to understand human dynamics, that we start to understand that love and respect and trust is the foundation of everything. And trust needs to be earned, even by our parents. And for me, it was an obligation. I felt it was an obligation put upon me
Right.
to respect, love, and trust my parents. Then, when you hit about age 13 or 14, and you start to realize that your parents, not only who you've entrusted with your very life, right? They clothe you and they house you and they care for you. They care for you when you're ill and all that stuff. They're responsible for all of you.
Mm.
They sometimes lied. They sometimes made poor choices in their parenting. There are all these things that the illusion then is broken, because I
Right.
think we idolize our parents until we reach adolescence, and then the veil is lifted.
Or adulthood, all depends. Some people take a long time to see that. They really do.
Truly, and sometimes the truth is ugly.
Yeah, it's ugly. Like you realize, like they do it a lot in movies where the kid grows up and they realize the mother and the father were never happy, and they stay together for the kids, and they're like, oh my God, my fantasy of a happy marriage is is broken, and it never is. If ever you're listening, audience, if ever you get to a point and you see a truth about your parents and you're like, oh my god, the fairy tale is doomed, you can create your own fairy tale. You don't need
You
to
create,
follow.
and that's what this is about. The breaking of the silver cord is you
Yeah,
creating your fairy tale ending.
you do it.
You
You
get
take
to be
them.
your own parent when you reach that point, right, where you are left to your own devices, whether you leave home at age 11
Yeah,
to separate from your family like you did, or separate from mine at 13. We get to wait, we we get to create our own fairy tale ending, and we get to reparent ourselves. I have had so many clients and people that I've talked to through my podcast, the
right,
Lost Traveler podcast, um, that will come back and say, oh, well, that's how I was raised, so that's what I believe. And I'm
right,
like, okay, well, your parents aren't standing over your shoulder now. Who's raising you now?
right.
And the answer is you are raising you now, and
You,
you're not beholden to the ethics, the values, and the morals of your parents. At some point, you have to claim your own.
you have to. It's a scary thought, but
It's very, it can be.
it
It
can
can.
be, but like you said, I think we did it in the third episode. We can not only can we be our own mothers, we can be our own fairy godmothers. Where we go, where the fuck is my wand?
Where's my fucking wand? Where'd I put it? You love that. I love that too.
You have your intuition, your mindset, your courage is your wand, where you could make this, make decisions from a place of spiritual discernment that's right for you, and no mother or father can take that away from you. Yes, it could be delayed and you got to work your shit out, but in this movie it plays to the truth that you will live with the decision that you made, and no matter how many times you want to blame your mom or your father for it, it doesn't really matter. It's on you. Like in the movie, the two sons made a decision.
That's right.
One son said, ah, fuck it, I get out of here, give me my bag, I'm gonna go get my wife. What the
That's
fuck am
right.
I doing? And the other one said, oh, it would have been
I'm
very
gonna I'm gonna
nice.
hide away in my mom's bosom. I'm
Yeah,
going to
he'd
like
rather
an
stay.
ostrich putting its head in the sand.
Yeah. And
I'm
for
gonna
all
dig my head down into my mother.
and for argument's purposes, maybe that's as enough as he's good for. Because right now, if he had made a decision to be with his wife, he would ruin his wife's life. So
We
it's
should write the silver cord too.
let's do it.
What
Honestly,
happens? What
yeah.
happens after the
Exactly?
fact?
What happens to the man who chose his mother over his wife
Right?
or his girlfriend? And what happened to the two of them? Did they live a life? Did the mother ever get over it? Did she forgive them?
Right.
Did she learn her lessons? Because a lot of us believe, and here's something that we can talk about too, is that, or mention later, is that when you hear people go, I'm doing this. Hold on,
Wait.
plugging that in. Is that a lot of people think that, oh, when you do something wrong to another party, or another party does something wrong to you, or whatever is going on. Yeah, whatever is going on, that the famous line is, oh, they'll learn. Sometimes people never learn. Do not get under the illusion that just because you feel you've been right, or the universe has blessed you with some decision, or you've made a choice, it doesn't mean the other party will learn that they've made a mistake. Sometimes it's just not their times. And just like that movie, the son might not learn for a very long time, if ever,
If
that he
ever.
needs to be his own man. And that's his journey. And I think we all face that same journey, to be our own person. So however the universe, God, however you want to perceive it, can speak to us in our own language. So it's important that you know your personal language, and don't let anybody, including your mama, change that.
And that's what integrity is all about.
Right.
When you have integrity, you recognize yourself with a capital S as a whole person, that every aspect of yourself is connected to every other aspect of yourself. And those of us, you and me and all of our listeners, and hopefully subscribers, are buffs. if they have had a tough childhood, or if they're in the midst of a tough adolescence,
Right.
there are ways for you to put space between you and your family. And I'm an advocate of that. I think if you can, if you wait, okay, there. If you have the inner strength and courage and capacity to
Yeah.
step out of the toxic circle and
Right.
say, this was never mine to inherit. I am not going to pass it on to my children. Right? When Irene Dunne and Francis D are going up the stairs, and she says, now, you know, you can't walk to town because you're going to make me go with you. And remember what I told you earlier at dinner, right? She goes, oh, your baby. Oh, you've got to get out of this house too, because she's going to do what she did to me to you, and she's going to do it to your baby.
Oh
right?
my gosh, yes.
Right? And she says, you just wait and see. You just wait and see. Wait and see. And I think that scared the shit out of Irene Dunne, because it does get passed on as an inheritance from generation to generation.
Yeah, it all does. Like, there's certain behaviors are learned, and this is one of them.
This is one of them. So if your gut, and this is what we will leave you with this week. Can you believe it's been an hour? We will leave you whole hour. If you feel in your gut that it's wrong, your situation, it probably is wrong.
It probably is.
And get the fuck out. Get out. Right? Get yourself. I don't care if you're 12, 13, 15, 19.
Get the fuck out of there, honestly.
Get out of there, and you find your way. You go find a shelter. You find a friend. You find a way to get out. And you're talking to two people who got out early. Granted, I came from a very privileged world. I was still financially dependent on my family.
I was not.
And you were not. And that's the difference. That's the difference between us, is that I didn't go into what do you call it? Halfway house.
Yeah, I didn't. Halfway house. But you see, what's so magical about that is that those who are watching going, oh, I can't do it. There's no excuse, because we come from both extremes.
That's right.
So it's not about the situation. It's about the mindset. And I know my mindset was, and I remember it being a child going, I'm not doing this. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I just go, I am not doing
it. You did it, but you did it. You found it in yourself. And I was rescued. I was plucked out of the situation.
Right.
And it was mitigated. And I went off to boarding school. You know,
there you go. Very blessed individual.
Very privileged, very blessed to have. I mean, although boarding school was its own 7th level of hell,
right?
You know, out of the frying pan into the fire. I was severely abused in boarding school as well. But it wasn't until I finally got out and I tried to play the game. I tried to go to college, and my dad was paying for it and all that stuff. And I had to leave. I finally had to leave and say, you know what, this isn't what I want. I want to play this game.
Yeah.
I don't have to play this game.
That's it.
And the whole world, part of the integrity is that the whole world is pointing at you saying, you should, you are, we know you better than you know you. And it's bullshit. You know you better than anybody knows you. Trust your gut.
Trust your gut. Honestly.
And trust your gut that you want to be a buff of classic screenshots by clicking that subscribe button and the bell and hit like, thumbs up, because that helps us help you. Not only with these great classics that nobody's ever heard of, like the Silver
Fun
Cord.
Conversation.
The link to the Silver Cord is in the undercarriage.
Right.
And you can go and watch it and then watch this, or you could do it the other way around. Right. Next week, QueenB.
Yes. I haven't chosen a movie yet. I haven't chosen.
Is it going to be another surprise?
It might just be, because it's surprising the shit out of me right now, because I haven't thought about it, but I will.
Okay. Well, listen, we're not going to tell you what it is, but we'll guarantee that it's going to be. It'll
be there.
It'll be there. The movie of next week is going to be there. Oh, yes, we did, because next week is Halloween.
Oh, we did. Good job. Yes, we did.
Guess what we're watching? We're watching Arsenic and Old Lace with
I
Cary
remember now.
Grant.
Arsenic and Old Lace.
It's another movie that started out as a play. It was a huge hit on Broadway. Huge hit on Broadway. And then it became a classic with Cary Grant. It's hilarious. It's spooky.
Cool. Oh,
About
yes,
these two
Cary
little
Grant. And I was
ladies.
saying that I knew somebody who dated Cary Grant. I remember now.
Yes, that's right. Isn't
I
that bizarre?
remember
I thought
now.
he was
I
a big
remember.
homosexual. Just
Yeah,
like
but
the older
she was
son in
very
the
proud. I
second
wish
place.
I could, but I'm sure wherever she is. Anyways, we'll talk about that after. Anyways, remember the lesson. Oh, here, the movie lesson for today is if you feel like your gut that something is wrong, you're probably right. All right, trust your gut.
gut.
There you go. That's
Should
it.
we make this a thing at the end of every episode?
Yes, movie lesson. Yes, movie lesson. Trust your gut.
Because you know what? Classic is sexy.
Yeah, exactly. I think so. Cut
Classic
the silver cord of fear and trust your gut.
Ooh, t-shirt.
I love it. I love it. I
love it. We're still working on the merch.
Yeah, we're working on the merch. We'll see you soon. And remember, if you come here and you're like, I love it, you will love it. I mean, tell your friends you love it, you love it, you love it. You love the co-hosting, you love the energy. Don't forget to follow, and don't forget that you can support us also. You can support us also on social media because we both have podcasts. Henry C has a fabulous podcast, the Lost Travelers podcast, where you can go and get the tools of the journey. People are talking about what they've learned and what they've shared.
Life skills.
And it's important.
And QueenB's podcast, The Cure is the Conversation. And you can find that at bluntreflections.com. You can also find us at classicscreenshots.com.
Yes.
And that's where we're going to have, we're on Spotify now too, aren't we?
Woohoo! Yes, we're on Spotify. So check us out. And we thank you again. And remember, like I said, movie lesson of the week is if it doesn't feel good in your gut, get the fuck out.
That's right. Bye.
Bye.